Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be watching this, welcome back for another video on my channel. I hope you guys are all doing really well. I'm not really sure what name to really give this series, but randomly on Twitter, whenever a subject interests me, I will ask you guys to let me know your thoughts on a particular subject and to get involved really. So I want as many of you guys to comment on the particular series that I'm talking about. So the main way to get in touch with me is on Twitter, and I'll put my link down for Twitter in the description below. But comment as much as you want, and as you can break me for my opinions, whatever the case may be, down in the comment section below. I want you guys to get involved. So today's question, it had to be about Arsene Wenger. He's been talked about so much recently, especially after the League Cup defeat to Man City. His stock has just gone, even further down for a lot of Arsenal fans. I think even the ones who were clinging on to him have finally they've lost patience. They've just lost patience, and it does feel like now the beginning of the end after years and years of different protests and banners and placards and planes and all kinds of stuff. It just feels like it's now coming to a close. I asked you guys on Twitter, I said that this week's question about Arsene Wenger, whether or not he should stay at Arsenal until the end of the season. Vote and comment on it. And the three options I gave you were sack him now, see out the end of the season, or see out the end of his contract. Now, at the point of recording this, 56% say sack him, 31% say see the season out, and only 13% say end of his contract. I'm actually quite surprised that it's at 13%. Now, before I read out your comments, I'm going to give my 2 cents on it. Now, for me, he has overstayed his welcome. There's no getting around it. He has overstayed his welcome at Arsenal. What he did for the club, he took them on to another level. He helped the English game with the nutrition and the diet and the regimented and the training schedules and all that kind of jazz like that. And he did take English football onto something else. But in football, football constantly changes. It constantly evolves. It needs to have people coming in and updating it. He's been in control of that club for far too long, and for me, it's time for change. Now, what does annoy me, and I'm prepared for the backlash, is the fact that people are calling this situation a crisis. Behave yourself. A crisis is a Blackburn, a Blackpool, Charlton, teams like Chester, Hartlepool. Do you know what? Teams that are in real financial difficulties, teams that have got owners that are crushing the club from the inside out, teams like Coventry, for example. You finishing in the Europa League is not a crisis. You losing in a League Cup final is not a crisis. Yes, it's sad, it's an end of an era, I get it, you want him to go. But don't start comparing what's going on at Arsenal Football Club to any of the teams down in the lower level. Try and support one of those teams and see how it actually feels to have your club ripped open, torn apart, going into administration, financial difficulties. In fact, you might not even have a club next week. Look at AFC Wimbledon, having their club completely moved from one part of the county to another. Do you know what I mean? Let's put this into perspective. Oh, I just wait for the backlash. Dislikes are coming my way. I can just sense it. Now look, like I said, that's that aside. I understand that as a football fan, you're in your bubble. You only look at things from how your club is doing, and you can't see what's going on the outside. So I do get it. I do get it. For Arsenal fans, this does seem like the end of the world. They're no longer competing for the top 4. It seems no longer competing for the Premier League. Embarrassing defeats in a final. They're now playing Europa League. So I do get where Arsenal fans are coming from. I do understand it, but I just think that it's not a crisis. For me, I think, in all honesty, I think sack him now would be a good option. And I think whoever you are going to give time to change what's going on at Arsenal, give him till the end of the season to see what the current squad is like, see how he likes the players, and then he can make decisions from there. Don't just give someone a summer. Don't just give him a couple of months to kind of go on what's happening. Sort the situation out now and kind of make some changes at the club from the top down. Now, is that going to happen? No. In all honesty, what I can see happening at Arsenal is that he stays there till the end of his contract because he can't leave. Wenger cannot leave. It is his baby. It is his pride and joy. He will not leave Arsenal. So I can see him running out his contract because he runs that football club, and he'll just go, this season isn't great, but I can be the man to sort it. So I honestly can't see him going until the end of his contract in 2019. I think he should be sacked now, but I don't think he'll go. But anyway, I asked for your guys' opinion, and quite a few of you got in contact. The first one to reply was Tim Scales, so thank you, Tim, for leaving a comment. He said that he should have gone at the end of the season, if not long before, because he's created a toxic atmosphere at Arsenal. It does seem to be very, very dead and horrible at Arsenal at the moment. The squad is poor, and I wouldn't expect instant improvement under a new boss if I was an Arsenal fan. But Wenger has overseen an accelerating decline of the club. I agree to a certain extent. I don't think the squad is poor. I think there are poor parts of the squad, but I think there are certainly players that you can work with to kind of compete again with the next level. There are no doubt that people like Xhaka, Ramsey, people like Mustafi, possibly Bellerin in that conversation as well, are not good enough for Arsenal. But everyone can identify what the issues are at Arsenal. Need a goalkeeper, needs a couple of centre halves, you need a holding midfielder, and to be honest, if you can keep Jack Wilshere on a new contract, you've got a really, really decent squad there that can compete again. So I don't know about the poor squad, but it does need some improvement. But thank you for getting in contact, Tim. Next person we had was Rampant at FM. He got in contact saying, I'm obviously not an Arsenal fan. Fair enough. But Wenger has clearly lost the dressing room and fans, more so than ever. I think he should have went last season, but the big question for Arsenal now is, who do you want to take over? Champions League looks doubtful, club in disarray. Other than the club in the disarray part, because it's not in disarray, you're still in Europa League, you're still in the Premier League, you're still making lots of money. The team can be turned around. It's not like the club is on its knees and has got nowhere to turn to. They are still one of the best teams in England, so you know it's not a disarray. But I get where you come from. He has lost in dressing room. He has now lost the fans. I think finally the swing of in or out has now gone to more out. That's a good question. I mean, Arsenal fans or people who don't follow Arsenal, who do you think should take over? Leave me down in the comment section who you think should come in. I probably think somebody like Ancelotti, maybe with Thierry Henry as his assistant. Maybe something like that might work. I don't know. Let me down in the comment section what you reckon. And Parkira Games also got in contact saying he has now become irrelevant and should shat all over his legacy. He needs to leave for the good of the club and himself, but as a United fan, ha ha ha. Thanks for getting in contact with that comment. He does need to leave because for all the success he had at Arsenal, honestly, even if he left now or if he left at the end of the season, it's been completely ruined. He will not be remembered for what he has done. He will be remembered for all of the negative things that have happened with Arsenal over the last 5 years. And it's weird when you say negative things, considering how many trophies they have still continued to win, especially the FA Cup. There are so many teams up and down the country that would die to have their team winning FA Cups on a regular basis. But for some fan groups of the bigger clubs, it's not good enough. I understand that, but it's just about putting things into perspective. But anyway, leave me down in the comment section what you think. When's the right time for Arsene Wenger to go? What should Arsenal do next as a club? Who should they appoint as a manager? Leave me down in the comment section what you think. Dislike the video if you don't agree with my opinion about Arsenal fans and whatever the case may be. Bring it on, I don't care. Leave the like button though if you did enjoy it. If you want to get involved in the next video, follow me on Twitter, and whenever I ask random questions, everyone who does leave a comment will be read out. That is a promise from me to you. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it, and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos, like, comment, all that kind of jazz. And until we see each other next time, as always on the channel, adios.